Newsweek calls Wilmington Murder Town, USA. The police chief reacts to that and talks about how he plans to make things better. This is the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Mendte. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'd like to welcome back to the show Wilmington Chief of Police Bobby Cummings. Thank you. I'm sure you are so happy to see a new year.
Absolutely coming, yes.
Because you took office last year.
I did.
And it was in the middle of a murder spree, you might want to call it, for the city of Wilmington. Per capita, the year before, you had the highest murder rate in the country. Then you take office, and it seemed like for a while it was going to, the murders just stopped for a while. Then they picked up, and another record-setting year for you. What happened?
Well, during that time we had the spike. There were a couple individuals in the city that we were able to identify that was involved in a lot of criminal activity that was going on. So when you saw that downtick in our homicides and shootings, it was because we were able to arrest those individuals and take them off the street. Shortly thereafter, we went to another spike. There was another group that came up because when we removed the one individual or two individuals, somebody else started to fill their void. A lot of these incidents were around, groups combating, and there was one guy who was pointed out to be a hitman. So he was going after targeted individuals, and we subsequently identified that person and was able to get them off the street also.
That's important to point out, what you just said. There's two things important to point out. One thing is that when we talk about the murder rate in Wilmington, it's per capita.
Yes.
Certainly Chicago, Detroit, there are other cities that have many more murders than Wilmington. And so we're talking about murders in the 20s for a year. So that's why when you have one person out there,
yes, they
can spike that murder rate very high. So in going through it, on August 31st, you had 2 murders. And then there was a stretch of almost 2 months where you had none.
Yes.
That was one person on August 31st that you got off the street?
Absolutely, yes.
Who had caused several of these murders?
Yes, and involved in a number of the shooting incidents that were taking place where no one was hit.
How do you stop these murders before they happen?
Well, part of that is getting out in the neighborhood and building these relationships. We have to involve the community, again, not just a police issue. We get into the schools, we go out and we do preventive measures to try and impact what's happening with these homicides. The more we can identify these groups as they're coming up and being built, that's how we get on top of getting to some of these homicides. And the other piece is, getting to the individuals that are providing weapons on the street that these homicides are being committed with. So it's really a lot of preventive upfront, relationship building, getting known in the community, and finding out through our intelligence piece who are the ones that are involved in these type of activities and who is likely to be involved in this.
Tell me how much the drug trade has to do with this.
Well, again, there are individuals out there who have become a part of that environment where that's their only economic means. So in order for that to continue, if someone is impeding on their area or territory, they need to make sure they take the competition out, remove them in some kind of means, get them to move on to somewhere else, or it's going to get confrontational to where maybe someone might lose their life.
So for your goals,
yes,
of bringing down these murders, does that mean then you have to lean on the drug trade in the city more than you have been in the past?
We do, and we have resources that we've brought in to help us do that.
And what are those resources?
Resources are from the Department of Justice. We're part of a group called the VRN, where they've identified 5 cities throughout the United States. And we're getting resources from, like I said, the Department of Justice, which includes the FBI, the DEA, ATF, the U.S. Marshal's Office, to deal with these individuals that we're identifying as being a part of that environment that causes those issues. So we have resources that are tied into just identifying just that and then going and take them off the street.
And when did that start?
We started that just after mid-October.
But didn't the murder spike happen right after that?
Yes, there was another individual that was out there who got involved in some activities, and we also identified him very quickly and got him off the street.
Is it unfair to tie the two together? That this initiative took over that was supposed to reduce murders, and then right afterwards there was a spike in the murders. Was it too soon to blame one for the other, or to say one didn't work because of the other?
Well, I think because we were able to take another individual off the street, it kind of played into that where it allowed another individual to step up a little bit. While we had these resources coming, it helped us get to a quicker resolution of identifying an individual. So it kind of came in around the same time period.
So let's talk about the homicide unit.
Okay.
First off. The homicide unit, how successful has it been so far? Right
now, it's becoming successful. We did have the opportunity to solve a homicide shortly after the unit was put into place. They solved that homicide within 48 hours. Now, to think that that's going to be the solve-all for all of our issues that are occurring in the city would not be fair. But I can tell you that that homicide unit is looking at all of the incidents that have occurred in the city where we have information that we have that can solve some cases, and we have information where we put some cases together that we're going back to the Attorney General's office to ask them to take another look at.
And how many people are in this homicide unit?
We have a supervisor from the Wilmington Department of Police. We have 5 investigators. We have 2 agents from the ATF, and we have a cold case unit that is a part of that.
And how many are in the cold case unit?
2.
So you have less than 10?
Yes.
When you sat here the last time I spoke with you,
yes,
you asked for many, many more than that.
Yes.
Do you have enough?
Well, like I said before, I will say we never have enough. But when you have to look at your resources and the community is asking for you to make some changes and do something different, what we did was we looked inside and we realigned some of our other divisions to make this work.
So you have the new homicide unit that you asked for, and I know that doesn't stop murders. That just makes it so that if you commit a murder, you're going to get caught, and so you can't get away with murder.
Right.
You have now, so you got that you asked for. You now have some help from the federal government.
Yes.
That is coming in as well. And so because of that, and because there's so much attention on this, is there a promise you can make? Is there, what is the result on that next year? What is your goal? Obviously, is to bring down the murder rate.
Absolutely.
But so that has to happen next year.
Well,
I mean, how much pressure is on you at this point? Is what I'm saying. Can you guarantee that's going to happen?
I can't guarantee. The only thing I can guarantee you is that we will make an effort into solving crimes that happen in our city. We will do, for all the resources that we have, we will make a concerted effort to bring down and try to reduce. But to give you an actual guarantee on a date or the numbers, I couldn't do that.
What I'm looking at is how you feel about it. So
Yes.
you go into next year and you have
Yes.
this murder rate, and you were brought in to bring it down. If it's not down next year, you would consider that a failure?
I would not consider it a failure because in life, things will occur. We will take the best resources that we have to make an effort. But if it's viewed by the community that it's a failure, that's who's going to tell me when it's a failure. But because the numbers may go up and we may be making impact in other areas of the city that have improved, but violent crime is #1 objective, to bring that down. And if we don't do that, in some aspects, if that happens, yes, I would say that would be a failure.
You know, as you're answering, I thought to myself how unfair the question is, because if you were to have, who knows what's going to happen? If you had a mass shooting at a factory, all of a sudden your numbers go up, and there's no way you could foresee that happening. So I understand that the question was a little bit unfair, but I wanted to find out what you were thinking about. We're having this conversation right now with the backdrop of a national debate over policing.
Yes.
And I'd like to talk to you more about that when we come right back on the Delaware Way with Wilmington Chief of Police, Bobby Cummings.